Welcome back, everyone. This is Wesley Darby again, and today we're going to be working with acrylic paint, and specifically we're going to talk about a few techniques with impressionist painting and how to get started. I do know the canvas is slightly warped. I wouldn't really call it warped, but the canvas isn't stretched as tightly. But that's okay. We're recycling this canvas. It's going to be okay for the demonstration. So this is called a ground or an underpainting. Basically, we're blocking out a sheet of color, so we're not painting right on canvas. This can be great if you're trying to, and you're painting in such a style where you're going to see some of the background through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some blue here. I'm going to get some water, so it's not going to be completely, it's not going to be a lot of paint, it's just going to be a little bit of water. Basically, it's kind of like a wash. So I'm just basically covering the ground here. And what we're working towards right here, we're working towards this right here, this scene. So I'm going to get some of this blue. I'm probably going to get some white too, because the sky is quite light. So we're basically just getting a wash going on here. As you can see, I'll show you the palette in just a second here. Oh, and ideally what you'd want to be doing, just such a rush, I skipped a step. But what you'd want to do before you started painting, we'll look at our image here and we'll be like, okay, right in this area here, it still works. It's going to be a mountain range. Alright, and then down here, we're going to have this building. Just lightly sketch it out real quick. Okay, we're going to have shrubs over here. And then we're going to have all these rows. So I wasn't planning on showing you the whole work here. So I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to have a few lines sketched out briefly. So what we're going to do here is, so I have these mountain ranges up here, so we'll just tilt this camera right over here a little bit. So we're going to grab my brush, and we're basically getting it really watery, and I'm going to grab a little bit of red, a little bit of blue, and I'm making this muddy purple color. I'm going to go right back up here. We're going to put a wash down here. And this is where our mountain range is going to be. Okay, grab a little bit of blue. Sorry, tilt the camera up. That was horrible. Big faux pas. And let me set this camera back down. And we're going to go back here and start painting this. And making my own purple here. We're just blocking in colors right now. And these colors are going to change when I go to put down the next color. But basically what we're doing is we're putting an underpainting down, and we're basically blocking in colors and shapes, and it's going to go differently. Okay, so we're going to move down to this area, and this area is going to have lots of purple. I'm not sure what kind of flower it is. I'm going to just put these down here in this row here. And I'm moving quickly because I don't want to take too much time in the video. And we're just doing a quick thing here. So I'm going to put that down. And see, we're going to go over this again, but we might not actually cover this. So that might actually show us some of the ground. What we're going to do here is I'm going to take my fan brush, get a little bit of white in there, and I'm going to, you can see that. Yeah, we're going to take some of this white, we're going to tap it, get some other colors in there a little bit. And then we're going to go back to this camera here, over here, and we are going to, oh, that's too much, that's too much. It's okay, we'll put this here, grab some of that purple that I had originally. Oh, I way overdid it. That's okay. Happy accidents. We'll make a little, yeah, we'll make a little bit. It's going for more something like that, where you can lightly see that, but that's okay. So I'll go back over, mix some of that purple again. And go back over that. We'll dry it and try it again. We'll have to make another purple. But the point is, with the fan brush, you can tap some of it off. We'll get a little bit of, we can add little light highlights in there, like so. Right, I'm not going to worry too much about this right now. We only have a few fan brushes, but we can keep working. I do want to show you a couple more techniques. So this one is basically, you color the ground, and then you let it dry, and then you sketch out roughly where you want things to go, and then with excess water, you block in colors, and when they dry, then you go back in and define it. That way, you know, if you don't cover everything, you're going to have the background show through. It's a very, very nice technique. We're going to stop. We're going to jump over. Sorry, we're going to jump over here. And basically over here, I'm going to take this dry brush here, very nice and dry, and I'm going to take my palette, basically just like before with a fan brush. I'm going to get a little bit of red, maybe a little bit of orange, a little bit of yellow, and I'm going to get it on my brush like so, and dab it a bunch of times to kind of get some of that paint off. Alright, so then I have just a little bit on here, and then I'm going to dab it right on there. Let's see if we can bring the camera in a little bit closer. Let's see that. See a little bit of that technique right in here. A little bit of that. And if that's too subtle for you, all we have to do is go back. Oh, that's too much there. But when you back up, and your viewer backs up, and you can overlap that even when it's got wet, and then you're going to have that look. So if you're trying to do leaves, like on a tree, you're trying to do flowers, you're trying to do a field, that technique might work. And let me show you how I got there. Basically, I took some of this paint here, and I sketched in kind of some bushes, basically. I sketch that up like that. And then I grabbed some darker green. I'll pop that on like that. And that's kind of how I did that. And then let's say I added a little bit of white up top here, because there's a little bit of highlight up there. And I had the dark colors at the bottom, and I put a little bit of white up top, and this is all mixing white, still wet. And then it dried, and then I went to the next stage. Lastly, a lot of you have projects with just patches of color. Oh, this isn't lastly, but that's a little too wet. But put a patch of color down, and put another patch of color down. Those are too small. I'll do little patches like this. You guys have lots of little patches. And then I take a different color, do the same thing. Whatever your color is you're trying to do. Alright, I'm going to have one more presentation in a moment, so hopefully you guys will come back and watch the second half.